DJ Immortal, live in the mix.
Hey, what's going on, Outlaw Radio Live fans? We are live on the air, full effect, with up-and-coming rising star, Senica Da Misfit, and his DJ. How you guys doing this evening?
Hey, we're good, fam. Maintaining.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So, first and foremost, I gotta ask you, what made you both decide to get into the music industry initially?
Growing up, man, just growing up into the culture, not even having a chance to not get into it. You know, when you're influenced by music, entertainment, all the things that are around you, all the elements that are around you, and when you're fortunate enough to be able to be creative behind the things that you experience in life and be able to articulate it in music, and seeing these other artists able to do that as well, and when you can get a nap for that as well and be able to do it, it's a beautiful thing, man, because all it does is grow and education, man. So it's just being immersed in it, man.
And, you know, that's how a lot of people really get started in the industry, you know, just being immersed into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you also made your... sorry about that.
Oh, it's all good.
So I was going to say, you also made your debut on DJ Lord Jazz from the Lords of the Underground debut album called Plain Dealer. Can you tell us a bit more about that? And how did you and DJ Lord Jazz get connected initially?
First, I'm going to give you your props for even knowing that. That's impressive, because not one person has ever asked me about that project. And believe it or not, that is the actual first thing that, like, I was on that was, like, officially out there. So that's crazy that you caught that. But that's actually weird. Fada, if I'm not mistaken, introduced me to him. Didn't you, Fada?
Yeah, we met him. I was kind of getting into the promoting game a while ago, and I had brought Lords of the Underground to the city, and there were some issues. They were cool, but there were some issues with Jazz's flight after the show. So we chilled in my crib, and I took him around the city, and he listened
to Charlotte.
Yeah. He listened to our music, and he was feeling it. So once he got back, he hit us up and was like, reached out, said he wanted to get Cynical on the record.
And that must have been crazy, man, actually being able to, make a debut on such a legendary individual's album, man. You're very blessed to be able to do that, because a lot of individuals work many, many years just to actually be able to get that opportunity, man. But you got it on the debut, man. That's actually pretty insane.
Yeah, and you know what's even crazier? I just thought about something. Tell me this isn't crazy. On a whole other separate topic, I was actually at that time messing with Ninth Wonder and his camp at that time, right? And so a producer by the name of V12 I was working with actually had played some of my music for Do It All, who's with Lords of the Underground. And Do It All was like, who's that artist? He's dope. I like to do a joint with him. And so I ended up doing a joint with Do It All around the same time that I actually got introduced to him, to Lord Jazz, and through Dog Fada. So that's how crazy the timing was. It was all around the same time that I ended up working with both of them, like simultaneously.
That's actually really cool, man. I have to ask you, what was it like actually working with Nine Wonder? Like, what was that experience like for you?
Well, I was actually in the studio with all of them, watching them to create their records. I was working with him, B12, who's his right-hand man, which was under a True School brand, under Jamla. And I can say that my experience with Night Wonder, 50% of it was studio and just watching their whole camp, watching their artists, and just absorbing what they were doing, because I was doing my own thing with his other. And the other 50% was just hanging out with him. Like, we all went to the movies. We went to go see Dark Knight and actually just, like, hung out and just, like, went to the food spots and all that stuff in Raleigh. So I had more like a friendship with all of them along with the music. But, no, it was dope. I got to sit in sessions with Sky Zoo, with their whole camp, and just build and grow. So I got a lot of game and knowledge through the whole team. So I'll always be grateful for that. It was cool.
And the one thing I do want to bring up, because when I was doing my research for this interview, I came across a freestyle that you did on Rap is Out of Control. And I watched it, man, and I mean, and I'm not even going to gas you up, I'm going to be real with you. You are an absolute beast on the microphone. I'm not gonna lie to you. Everyone else that was doing their freestyles, you just took over, man. I felt that you could have did that for hours. I have to ask you, what was it like being able to do that freestyle on Rap Is Out of Control, and how did you get so good at freestyling?
Hey, I appreciate that first and foremost. I was prepared. Like, you know, the funny thing about it was, like, what I had in my head were Rap Is Out of Control. First of all, I didn't even know Sadat X was going to be spitting. They made it seem like he just popped up there on the humble because he was in the area. So if you actually go back and listen to my freestyle, it's kind of like double dutch and jump roping. You know, when somebody's ready to try to jump in and jump through the jump rope. That's kind of how Sadat X was doing, because you can hear him being like, "That's right, yeah, like he's trying to chime in, like, hey, nigga, let me." I'm sorry.
No,
hey, man,
this is uncensored, bro. You can say anything you like, man.
Oh, okay. Well, it was like they was like, "Nigga, shut up! I'm trying to spit. I'm Sadat X," and I didn't care. It's like I'm prepared and I'm ready, and I'm looking at it like I'm carrying it like as if I'm on Funk Flex or if I'm on Sway or whatever, where, you know, the artist is there and they spitting for like 20 minutes. So I came there with that, and I'm just like this. Y'all can spit, and you can mess up over here, and you just came here to visit. Okay, so I'm handling my business, and until you click direct and tell me to shut up, I'm going to spit. I'm looking like what Eminem said on 8 Mile, you got one opportunity, and so I'm just giving you bars, and I'm just doing my thing. Now, if they don't want to be prepared, that's on them, but I'm gonna use up every last second I have to spit my bars and let people know who I am. So that's how I look at it. Like, nah, handle your business. And it is what it is. I didn't even know Sadat X was going to rhyme until he jumped in.
And it was actually funny because when you said that, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, yo, this man wants to get in, because I could hear him trying to jump in, right? And you just keep going. You could see his voice. He was like, yo, man, like, give me a taste of this, man. I want some of it.
Right. And it wasn't, and I told my DJ this, yo, he could tell you, like, honestly, when I was rhyming, I just blacked out. And I didn't even know. If I knew Sadat X was trying to come in, of course I would have cut myself short and I wouldn't let him spit, because that's just what it is. But I honestly was just spitting. I just thought he was just hyping me up and was showing love. I didn't know he wanted to rhyme. So, yeah, whenever I do, you know, shows or whatever and I'm performing, I'm always prepared. I try to be prepared, and I try to, because it's like you never know who's watching. And for one, if you have a brand and you're serious about what you do, you always want to make sure that you are ready. And I'm not going to slight the other artists that was on there, but, like, I try to talk to him even afterward, like, yo, you can't be looking at your phone, or, like this is a broadcast. You got to be ready for this, man. Like, don't make a difference how dope your music is outside of this. When you're an MC and you come from that cloth of all the hip-hop heads, the era of when people were spitting, you got to make sure you represent, because some of these people may never heard your music, and then all they do is hear you come on here and you freeze or you choke or whatever, and then that's all they got to go off of. They're not going to really have that much faith in who you are. You can't even spit no bars on the radio. Like, what? So I want people to hear me, and they be like, yo, dude was nice. I'm going to check out his music. So then, bam, I got another fan, or I got somebody else that's, like, you know, trying to check me out. So you always put your best foot forward, no matter what platform it is. I don't care if I was spitting in front of 5 dudes on the block, or if I'm on Shade 45, or if I'm just, you know, on the local radio. I'm going to always give 110%, because we have a brand, and it's not just me. It's me and Darth Vader. We're a unit. So if I come off crazy, look silly, that's bad on him, and vice versa. So we always make sure that we're prepared, even when it comes down to our shows and how we perform. We do everything to the T to make sure that it flows and that we have a good reputation and a good brand for, you know what I'm saying, our fans. So that's how we work.
And, man, you know, that's respect, man. That really is. You got to protect your brand. And one thing I do want to ask you, man, because I always do give, you know, an individual a chance if they want to at the end of the interview. If you want to throw a freestyle at the end of the interview, man, you can. I don't think me and my listeners will like, you know, go against that. If you want to, man, you can.
Wow. Look, I didn't even think about that.
Hey, man, if you want to, you can, man.
What was that thing?
They can hear all the bars on Poetic Ruckus too, you know what I'm saying?
And speaking of that, man, Poetic Ruckus 1, that was my next question. And I do have Poetic Ruckus 2 in there, but we got to start with the first one, man. Your debut album called Poetic Ruckus was released in 2018. I have to ask you, what is the inspiration behind that album? And also, where can our listeners actually grab themselves a copy of that, if it's still available on the internet?
Yeah, we course, we got the physical, so you can hit me or DJ Dark Vader up, and that's on all of our social media handles. Is all the same. Poetic Ruckus is available everywhere on all the digital streaming sites, all major sites. This is Poetic Ruckus 2. The inspiration behind it, believe it or not, for Poetic Ruckus 1, the inspiration was behind performing, being out on the road with Red and Meth in them, and actually seeing how the crowds was reacting. So if you listen to that project, you hear a lot of upbeat music, like songs that you can see us performing on stage, because like we watching them, we're like, okay, high energy. It's ruckus. We wanted to make sure that it was hype songs that people can like really get like, oh, that's crazy, nodding their heads and wilding out. So you hear Straight from the Brain, I be giving you the pain, and you like bobbing your head and you going crazy with it. It's like, yeah, because I'm sitting here thinking to myself, yeah, I know when I get on that stage, I'm gonna get that energy from the crowd, because we already know what kind of crowd it is. So Poetic Ruckus was inspired by like doing live shows and touring. That's that project, and the poetry is just from the type of lyricist I am. So Poetic Ruckus is poetry infused with just crazy stage presence. And if you see me and Fader put on the show, you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll catch us out there like wilding, and we trying to warm that stage up and get it crazy. So we're always making sure that we bring a lot of ruckus to our shows, and just that cloth we cut from too, just that performing. Like, we don't just be standing on stage and, he got CDJs and I'm just standing in place, just doing a whole song, just boring. Nah, we out there on technique turntables. He's going back and forth. He's involved. I'm involved. I've got the crowd moving. We're going crazy. It's hip hop. So that's the inspiration behind Poetic Ruckus, is us knowing already, and and our foresight that, yeah, these are songs we want to perform and we want to get everybody crazy. So it's hip hop, it's boom bap, golden era.
And also, I saw a post on your Facebook that you were filming scenes for a film called Zeke the Awakening. Can you tell us a bit more about that film, and also what was it like actually being in a film?
That's dope. I mean, just multitasking. Like, again, it goes back to just the branding. I'm doing whatever I can to just, stay afloat and entertain. So yeah, that's separate from the music. But just filming a movie right now called Zeke the Awakening. Actually, not even done filming with it. I'm filming again this weekend, but it's dope. It's working with artists, different artists and different actors, and getting that aspect of the entertainment industry, because at the end of the day, art is art. So whether I do it in the musical form or if I'm doing it in an acting form, it's still a performance. It's still me, and I don't never limit myself to just doing being one dynamic, So it's dope working on set, performing again. It's in a different vein, but it's still the same elements that I use. I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm a movie buff. That's my thing. Like, most people watch sports. Somebody at Sam's Club will come to me like, hey, we got this sports package. I don't care about no sports package. I don't watch sports. I watch films. So I love movies. So when I'm looking at films, I'm looking at the actors, I'm looking at the directors, I'm looking at the way it was shot, the cinematography, all of those things. So when I'm acting, I'm thinking in my head, okay, am I convincing? Am I believable? Is somebody gonna look and be like, okay, yeah, that scene was cool, but that dude was whack. I don't want that. So I am just as serious in my craft of acting as I am with my music. So working on that film is amazing, because I'm learning different, aspects of the entertainment industry. So shout out to Kazar, shout out to Michelle, shout out to Malik Pilot and everyone involved in the film. And it'll be coming fall of 2020. Shout out to all the actors, and Trey Cheney from The Wire is also in there too. So shout out to him and everyone involved in the film. It's gonna be dope.
Most definitely. I have to ask you, is there an estimated release date for that? And also, what streaming platform will that be on? So that way our listeners can actually be on the lookout for the film that you're starring in.
Yes, I believe the release date, I know it's fall 2020. I don't have the specific release date. I know it's fall 2020. It's going to be in, I think, select theaters, and it probably will be on all streaming sites as well once it's available. I don't know all the details too much, but they are releasing it on major platforms too. But it's going to be in some theatrical releases as well with it too. So as it comes closer and all that kind of stuff, if you follow me on social media, you'll be able to see that as well as everything else that's involved with me. So, yeah, just follow me at Senica, Senica Da Misfit, on all social streaming sites, and you'll be able to get all the insight on everything I'm doing, whether it's music, acting, the whole nine. And also follow DJ Dark Vader as well.
And I also saw on your Instagram that your song Straight From The Grain was number 9 on the Insomniac Magazine's Top 10 chart. I have to ask you, how does it feel knowing that your song was in the top 10?
That was fire. I was fired because, again, that song was made with the whole idea of performing. Because, again, Poetic Records 1 was about us just doing shows and performing. So all I'm thinking about is just doing a show that's going to be crazy to rock on stage. Now, anything else aside from that is a bonus. So, like, yeah, the college stations and different platforms, that's an extra added bonus when they actually gravitate to the songs. I mean, I want that anyway. We want that, 100%. But when you get confirmation from that, it's really dope. And also, we were recognized for being like one of the top underground artists too as well, and on the Wake Up Show, all behind that project. So shout out to Sway, shout out to their whole team too as well for recognizing that we are holding down the fort and just playing our part and bringing good music and good content to the forefront. So it's love, and it's flattering when people recognize it. It's one of those things when you do something from your heart, you don't expect to get anything out of it because you're too busy doing it. And I want to say that's my Achilles heel, maybe Faders as well, is that we're so tunnel vision and focused on making content and putting it out and just doing what we can with it, that we never stop to smell the flowers of people saying, yo, that's crazy, that's dope. It's like, I certainly appreciate that, but I'm so busy making the next record or performing the next record that I don't even really stop and be like, yo, I'm glad that this, that, and the third is happening. And I really am. And when I see things like that, like it's charting on, sites that play golden era hip hop or real hip hop, that's it's encouraging, and I really do appreciate it. I just love working, and I just love continuing to create and create and create. Like I go into dark places when I don't get a chance to create. So it's really good to be inspired to want to continue to create when people recognize it, like different charts and stuff like that.
And when you said praise and whatnot, man, I do want to say one thing to you quickly before we move on to the next question. And I have to say this. When I actually first discovered you, one of my friends reposted one of your links to one of your teaser tracks. And when I heard your music, man, you remind me of an individual that is like a modern day rapper, but also has that 90s flow and feel, man. You don't get that a lot with talented individuals like yourself, man. And when I heard your music, I was like, yo, I gotta reach out to this guy. I gotta get him on the show. Because I was drawn to your music, man. Ever since I booked you, I've been listening to more and more in your music, and I have to say to you, and this is not coming from a radio DJ gassing you up, this is from like a fan to an artist right here, man. Your music, there's not one song that I do not like from you, man. You are such a talented individual, and I can actually see you actually going completely mainstream all over, man. You are a very talented individual.
Thank you, man. That means a million. And I think the formula is kind of like with Primo and Guru, like they said, how they keep the same formula, but then they update it with the times. That's me and DJ Dark Vader, like to a T. Like the good thing with me is like sometimes, and I'm glad you say that because I can really appreciate that because that's confirmation. I can make there's been times when I created maybe 10, maybe 15 songs, and I send them to Theta. There's been times when I just be wanting to cut him off and never talk to him again, because he'd be like, because he don't sugarcoat nothing. He's like my biggest critic. So he'd be like, man, one of them, two of them, that one was cool, but them other ones is whack. And there's been times when he's done that, and then there's been times when I send him music, and he don't even respond. And I'm like, yo, so you get those joints? And he'd be like, yeah, I got him, but, man. So I say that to say that we don't just be twiddling our thumbs and just be like doing stupid stuff. Like, we put our heart and soul into it, and we have a formula, and we have a way of making sure that our music has a current feel but a nostalgic vibe to it. And it's not easy to do. So the way I do it is I don't listen to the radio. Like, I don't listen to anything. I just go into a box in a bubble. That's how I'm able to be able to keep that sound. And then me and Fader, we have conversations. She'll keep me up to date on like the flows and like the stuff that people are on. Like, yo, you should try this vibe or try that vibe. But like, it's kind of like one of those things where like, you saw like the Bird Box movie, like as soon as you take the blindfold off your eye and you see something, and then you start hallucinating and get caught up in that. That's how I feel about music. It's like if I listen to too much of the other stuff, it gives my soul, and next thing you know, I'm doing some trap stuff. So I don't like listening to really anything like outside of like the era I'm from. So it keeps me authentic and it keeps me true to my sound because, I let them do what they do and I do what I do so that people like yourself can appreciate me because you already know you're surrounded by all that other stuff. So if you want to get into that, you can like that. But at least you can be like, yo, when I hear Senica, though, I know what vibe I'm going to get. He ain't really trying to do all this extra stuff that these other guys are doing. And I'm content with that. I'm fine with my lane because there's a fan base for every artist out there. And I like my fans to be able to say, yo, you remind me of this from the 90s, because to me, that's the golden era. So I take that deeply as a compliment, and I appreciate you and let you know that I purposely make sure that my vibe is that way so that people like yourself can appreciate and know when you want that sound, you can come to me for it. So I definitely got y'all on that.
And I do have to just elaborate on that. When you said, like, you have that vibe, and I think that's why I got drawn to your music, because that's all I listen to is 90s rap. Obviously, I have a radio station, so when I get song submissions, I have to at least listen to them and take consideration. But I get a lot of the trap music sent to me, and that's stuff I don't play. But when I heard you, I was like, yo, this is the shit. I'm like, this is the fire, man. I'm like, yo, I'm reaching out to him like ASAP, But I do want to say, man, keep doing what you're doing, man, because you know what? It's fire, man. It really is. Keep doing what you're doing.
Word. Thank you. I mean, and that's the whole goal. It's like just keep. The whole thing is what we do is we create, and we just keep creating. And again, at the end of the day, I don't care if it's 5 people, 5,000 people, 5 million people. At the end of the day, they're gonna know that we're keeping it 110% us, and we're not conforming to what the industry wants or what everybody's expecting just because the trend is this or the gimmick is that. No, we keep it 110% what we are, and I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I don't have to report to this, that, and the third to get this sound or that sound improved. I can do what I choose to do, and I can take full responsibility, whether it's good or bad, for whatever sound that I have. So that's a blessing in itself right there.
And I also have to ask you, you were a part of the Investigation Discovery Network hit show, True Conviction. I have to ask you, what was that experience like, and what role did you play in that show?
I played, that's a true crime series. So for that, I was playing a guy named Alonzo, and he was, accused? He was accused of killing his child's mother. So I was doing a reenactment of him in that situation, and the story was crazy because he actually even went to jail for a little bit because they believed it was him. The actual dude that did it was a friend of his, and he only got caught because after he killed the mother of the child, he drank some of the orange juice out of the cart, and they ended up getting his DNA from the orange juice container when he applied for a post office job like some time after. So he would have got away with it had he not left his DNA there. And it's crazy just how things can happen. But it was just meant for that dude to get caught and go to jail. But yeah, it was a great experience, man. It's like learning how to do your footing, your stepping, reenactment, and things like that on like national television. It's just like, bam, you don't really get no second goes. You spend the whole day, learning the situation and assessing how to respond and how to be to make it as believable as possible as a reenactment of what happened. So all that did was just open up doors for me to be able to like be in this film. And I'm like, okay, great, because that's not the I've done other crime series shows too as well on TV One. So between that, True Conviction, and then For My Man on TV One, And then I'm actually on another crime show that's coming out on Investigative Discovery called Reasonable Doubt. That's, I think, coming out later this year as well. So just busy and just working and just actually honing my craft on everything that I do. And between Don Freddy and I, we working on new music right now as we speak. So even though Poetic Records 2 just came out, we already working on our next project. So between the acting and that, and then Dark Freddy doing DJ shows, and we booking other shows, we working and we busy, we staying focused, and we're keeping our grind hard. So despite everything else that's going on in the world, which is crazy right now, of course, we're just trying to do whatever we can to play our part in giving out good music, entertaining people, despite the dark cloud that we're facing right now. So.
And when you all said keeping busy as well, I also noticed that you did a commercial for Cozy cell phones as well, man. Like, you really are keeping really busy.
Yeah, and those are headphones, which is dope. Like, I didn't even know that. I'm like, dang, headphones for kids? Okay, it's consistent. Yeah, it's consistent with what I do too. Yeah, I don't have step on anything, man. And I just shot a short film too as well, called Protected. Shout out to Chad Ali. That's really, really dope. That be released real soon. They'll be in film festivals, and it'll be on social media soon. Super deep, super deep. I love the fact that I'm being attached to really, really deep projects and diversified. Because you never want to pigeonhole yourself. You always want to make sure that you can fly in whatever you do and be fly in anything you do. So that's the name of the game for me, man. And we're just staying focused on everything. So yeah, good busy. Good busy is a good thing.
And also, you performed at a festival not too long ago, in front of 30,000+ people. I have to ask you, what was the feeling like, and what was the energy being able to perform your music at a festival live in front of 30,000+ people?
How much time do you got for me to really go into that? Like, you want to do the short version or the long version? Because I got to give you the whole story. Like, Peter, just cut me off, man, if I go too much. First of all, that show was in Buffalo, right? And let me just fast forward, then I'm going to go back to the beginning. So, we just sitting out on stage with Red and Meth and all of them, they're going on stage. Conway is, like, right behind me. This is probably before they started, like, really, really, really popping off. Conway, them from Buffalo, Griselda, and all them, so shout out to all of them. That whole experience wasn't even, it's not even real. It hasn't even sunk into me yet. So imagine, like, fast forwarding and you driving, you get to the airport and Method Man just hops inside the car, him and Fader. Yeah, let's go back to the hotel. Okay, cool. We go back to the hotel. Meth goes to get some, change his clothes. Fader's like, all right, I'm going with Red and them to sound check. All right, Meth like, yo, let's go to the mall. I'm going to get an outfit for the night. This is all before the 30,000 people on the stage. Me and Method Man go to the mall in Buffalo. We just driving around. He's listening to Poetic Records, and he's critiquing. He's like, yo, that joint's fire. He's listening to it doing Me, Tretch, and Do It All. That's fire right there. He is straight from the grain. Yeah, okay, da-da-da-da. Loving it. We pull up to the mall. It's only a couple people there just doing the day. We're just walking around. By the way, I should have got paid because I was his official bodyguard. Even though he's twice my size, but that's another story. So we in there, we walking around, right? And we just going to different stores. And he's like, yo, let's go into this American Equal. I think Wu-Tang got a contract with them. They selling Wu-Tang socks, da-da-da. And the more we walk around the mall, the more people started recognizing him. And then people started coming. Like, first it was like 4 people, then like 20 people, then like 30 people. And he just cool as a fan. And, like, people are like, yo, Meth. And I'm like, yo, hold on a second. And I'm like his bodyguard. I'm like, Meth, you know, you want to talk? He's like, yeah, it's cool. He started taking pictures with people. We start walking around the mall. And we just shopping. You know, he bought some pants. I bought some pants. And you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, I'm ready tonight, Meth. You know, you done talk much.
Talking about the show, how you...
All right, my man. Yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about. I told you. See, that's why I need him on the phone, because I'll just go left to all right. My bad. All right,
hey, man,
so look,
I'm a Wu-Tang Clan fan, man, so if you want to tell some Method Man stories, I ain't going to shut you down, man.
Yeah, it's Method Man story. It's funny. Okay, so anyway, all right, so yeah, he got his socks. I mean, I'm sorry, yeah, we found some Wu-Tang socks, so he got some Wu-Tang socks. He got some Converse and stuff like that, got his pants. And then we go off to the show. Like, yeah, you know, we had the show. So we're on the stage, and like we look out there, and DJ Dice, you know, he's Red MF DJ. We just look out there. Faded did the sound check, so I didn't even get a chance to do that. That's another crazy part. I always do the sound checks. So for our biggest show ever in my entire life and my entire career, I didn't even do a sound check for the 30,000 people. All I did was go out on the stage, and the moment I go out on the stage, I just look out there, and I swear on my life, it was the most endless crowd I had ever seen. And I just remember looking way, way down because it's outside. And it was like a bridge that ran parallel with the crowd. And the crowd went as long as the bridge. I swear it looked like it was at least maybe a quarter of a mile long. And I'm just looking like crowd, crazy. So I look at Fader, and I'm just like, all right, let me get a pic real quick. Take a picture of me real quick before we go on this day. He get annoyed with me because he goes into this zone. He gets quiet, and he don't never want to talk. And that's all I do is run my mouth before we go on the stage. So, like, people are like, yo, how you just be able to be like that and before you go on the stage and perform? It's nothing to me. So, anyway, I get out there, and we just started rocking. And it's like we do our regular thing, and the crowd is rocking with us. And then, like, we tell the crowd one love, and, like, thousands of people, like, raising their L up. And it was like, what you got to understand, Immortal, is that 70% of the crowds that we go to have never heard not one single record of mine. And that's changing now, but initially. So imagine you're going out there in front of a Red MF show. These crowds are here for Red MF. They don't really care about seeing who opens up or who's there for them, especially when they're not familiar with their music. And we still control the crowd. We still get them to participate on the hooks. We still get them to show us love, chant our music, and start following us and start getting familiarized. I got people to this day that still hit me up every day from Buffalo, giving me shout-outs and saying, yo, when you drop your next project? And letting me know that they just caught my Poetic Records too, and sending me screenshots of it from that show. And to know that, like, that's the most memorable thing I've ever done, just from off the experience of even hanging with Meth that day, building with him. And that's like when me and him started getting real close. So that show was crazy. The crowd was crazy. We stayed after the show, went to the front of the crowd, and they were just showing us crazy love. Yeah, that was probably like the craziest experience I've had. It's just 30,000 something people, all of them screaming my songs that they've never heard before ever, and rocking to it, and loving it, and getting good reception and good energy from it. So, yeah, that will always be one of my biggest moments for me personally. What about you, Fader?
Yeah, I mean, that show was cool. It's been several. That's probably the largest crowd we've been in front of. But, you know, the smaller venues, sometimes a little more intimate. Maybe if it's, you know, 500,000-600,000 people in there, and they really be rocking with us. So, you know, that's my favorite part of the game, is just going to the shows and rocking live and getting the reception and seeing the response of the crowd and getting the love.
And I do want to ask this, man, right before we move on, I want to ask you, though, Senica, how did you originally get connected with Method Man, if you don't mind me asking?
Dang, look, my mind just went blank on that one. You know, Fader, yeah, go ahead, yeah, you got that.
That was through Dice. Me and DJ Dice, shout out to him. We used to live in the same city, and I used to go on the road with them and just kind of network. And then one day we opened up for Red and Meth, and I think Keith Murray in Charlotte, and that was the first time that his people had saw us perform. And they told us to come to the next city that following day, which was in Norfolk. And then we kind of just started, they started including us on spot dates and getting us worked in even more. So, you know, I've been running around Red and Meth and them for probably maybe almost 10 years because I've been rocking with Dice. But once I brought Senica into the fold, when I knew that we were ready to bring something to the table, it just took off as soon as we all connected.
Yeah, and another thing to piggyback off of that, Immortal, tell me this isn't crazy as well. That's how you know God's timing is crazy. So, at the same time that I had recorded that song for Do It All, when he was when Fader was good with Lord Jazz, that same time I had did a record with Inspector Deck when I was messing with Knife Wonder and them.
Oh,
So then, yeah, so I already had a record with Inspector Deck. So just to fast forward, Meth was familiar with that record that I did with Inspector Deck as well. So it's like people still know of each other. And before that, and another story that's real quick and crazy, before I even touched the stage, before Redman and Method Man, there's a video right now that you can go to on YouTube, an interview with Redman and Method Man being interviewed. This is before I started performing with them. But my song is playing in the background, and they nodding to it. This is before I even met them.
Oh,
and
shit.
it's just, everything is full fold. Everything is full fold. A song that I did called Lose Your High is playing in the background of their interview. So it's like everything is inevitable and everything is timely. We all fam now, but like just the process of building up to all of that, it was meant to be. It was meant to be as far as how we work with them now. So it's crazy.
And especially also growing up listening to an individual, and then now you're performing side by side, man. It must be such a surreal moment for you, just being able to work with someone you grew up listening to. You know, that must be crazy.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I battled Redman when I was a teenager. Like, we spit some bars at each other at, like, a mall in Baltimore when I was a kid. So it was, like, the timing. And then, like, just not even to go, like, left field, but, like, he was impressing me back then, and he gave me Def Jam information. He gave me information for people at Def Jam, and that's a long story of what happened after that, but he even remembered that when I was reintroduced to him again. Oh, yeah, I mean, so it's just like, just getting familiarized. So shout out to Redman, shout out to Method Man, shout out to Do It All, big time, because that's the big homie. That's the bro that has gave me the keys to the city when it comes to Jersey. So when it comes to Tretch, when it comes to Outsiders, when it comes to Queen Latifah, everybody out in Jersey, Do It All has linked me up with all of that. And Method Man and Redman, that's just the added bonus. So everybody's covering that same Golden Era clock. So I feel like we in great company, and we're definitely not going unnoticed in what we're doing. So yeah, we working, man.
And also on March 7th, you released your newest project, Poetic Ruckus 2. I have to ask you, what is the inspiration behind that album? And also, where can our listeners buy or stream? Or also, if you have any hard copies available, where can our listeners cop themselves a copy?
Okay, so Poetic Ruckus 2, that's available on all digital streaming sites. So, you know, iTunes, Apple Music, Pandora, Amazon, Spotify, Google Play, Shazam, shoot. I mean, every streaming platform, Tidal, all the streaming platforms, Poetic Ruckus 2 is available. If you want a physical, me and Fader had those, so you can holler at DJ Dark Fader or myself, and we had the physical CDs as well. So, you know, the inspiration behind that was more poetic. If you listen to them back to back, you can, again, with the formula, you'll be able to say, okay, yeah, this is definitely, the vibe is still the same, it's consistent, it's dope, but it's more song heavy. So the first Poetic Ruckus is more performance, and it's still substance. It's still raw, still gritty. Poetic Ruckus 2 is more poetical. It's more thought provoking. This is just my opinion. It's more thought provoking. It's deeper. But then there is songs on there that's performance, that's boom bap. But it's something for your mind. It's something for you to think. Talks about the love of hip hop. Talks about stories, family, social issues, ups and downs, trials and tribulations, but then there's songs on there that's got a current vibe to it. It's got like that. Okay, yeah, this right here, I can knock to this. Like a young millennial will be able to be like, oh yeah, like this. I like that right there. Like that's it right there. So they're both. It's a part one and a part two. And I feel like, you know, most sequels, like even with movies, they usually suck. I feel like Poetic Ruckus 2 is definitely a step up. It's a step up from Poetic Ruckus 1. So yeah, you'll definitely love it, especially if you love Poetic Ruckus 1. It's just Poetic Ruckus 1 was about the ruckus and a little bit of poetry. Poetic Ruckus 2 is more about the poetry and not as much ruckus, if that makes sense. So that's the way I put it.
So everybody that's listening, make sure you buy and stream that album today. I had the privilege of getting myself a copy, and I have to say it's absolute fire. I suggest everybody that's listening do themselves and get themselves that album. Hey man, I gotta promote that, man. That album's fire, man. And speaking of fire, man, May 16th you will be performing at the Strand Ballroom and Theater with Method Man and Redman. Can you tell us a bit more about that event? Also, when will tickets be available to be purchased to the general public?
Is this like our second time or third time, Fredo, with the Strand? Is that the second? Our second? Okay, it'll be the third. The third? Yeah, I love the Strand, man. That's crazy. That should be available now, right? The tickets for that, or
that I'm not sure when the tickets are available, to be honest.
Yeah, I know they'll probably be available come April, since it's May 16th. So I would say probably mid-April. The ticket box office will probably start advertising it. That's usually what they do, especially when it comes to the touring with Red and Meth. So yeah, I would say probably make mid-April. And yeah, the Strand Ballroom is crazy. It's a dope venue. So if you're able to get out there to it, definitely check us out. It's gonna be crazy energy. And anyone that comes to the Red and Meth show, you're going to get crazy energy. So it's only right that Darth Vader and I, we bring that same energy with us, because what the heck, we look like being up there slow crooning and, not consistent with what the crowd wants. And that was one thing that I wanted to make mention of, is compliment who you are performing with. When people... That's the biggest compliment I get, is when people come to me and they be like, yo, we didn't know how y'all was going to sound, but man, I thought that this was y'all show. Until Red and Meth came out, I thought this was y'all. I'm like, what? Like, yeah, like y'all carried it like that. That's how we trying to carry it. Like, we basically go up there and we trying to impress them and they peoples. Because they had their merch stands up. So they like, yo, we saw y'all tonight, man. Y'all was looking good. Like, okay, that's what it is, because that's what we want. We want y'all to know that we earning our keep. We're not just some artists up here just trying to take up some stage time before y'all go. Nah, I'm trying to shut it down. I'm trying to go out there and make a name for myself. Like, yeah, we look Red and Meth and we're doing what we're doing. But at the end of the day, when we get off that stage, they're going to remember DJ Darth Vader and Senica Da Misfit, because those two guys was bringing it. And every city, every show, that's what we do. And that goes back to the point I was making earlier about when I'm on these radio shows and when I'm spitting, whatever the case may be, every time I'm going to give you 110%, because you never know who's listening. And at the end of the day, word of mouth is going to go further than anything. And I want people to be like, yo, they be rocking. They be doing what they doing. So, yeah, you come to one of our shows, we're killing it. Every time. I don't care if it's 5 people in the crowd or 5,000. I've rocked 20 people in the crowd with Red and Meth, because everybody was at another show that was, booked the same day, whatever, and Method Man coming to me like, yo, okay, so you did this right, but you should try this and try that. And then I've rocked 30,000 people with Red and Meth, and they're like, yo, whatever. So it don't matter. And that's one thing Red Man said that sticks with me. I don't care if it's 5 people in the crowd, 500,000 or 5,000 or whatever. You give 110%, because those people that came, they want a good show. And, nothing should determine how you perform. You give 110% of your energy no matter what, every time. That's how you build your brand. That's how you stay consistent, and that's how you keep people wanting more. Plain and simple.
And I have to ask you, what is next for you, man? I know you are working on a new project, but currently, is there anything else you want to promote while you're still on the air with us?
Right now, I'm all about Poetic Records 2. That's it. Like, get that. Like, once you get Poetic Records 2, I promise you, like the point I just made, representing and being in a good way, hold it down. You're going to love what you hear. You're going to follow everything else I do. So I figure it like this. Right now, Poetic Records 2 is what I'm all about. Once you hear that and you love it, you'll follow everything else I do, and then you'll see everything else I got going on. But right now, I'm throwing that fishing rod, throwing that fishing rod line out, and I'm just trying to wheel people in, reel them in for Poetic Records 2. So right now, Poetic Records 2. Senica Da Misfit, DJ Darth Vader, Poetic Records 2. Get that, and I promise you, you will love it, and then you'll see everything else we're doing. So I got tunnel vision right now, Poetic Records 2. That's all I'm talking about.
So this is the time in the interview that I give a chance for the individuals that come on the show. Just a chance to give shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to, and also your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you if they're not already doing so.
Alright, cool. Yeah, like, again, follow me. Check this out. Everything is at Senica Da Misfit, so that's Senica, Senica, DA Misfit. Everything is at Senica Da Misfit. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of that at Senica Da Misfit. Fader.
Yeah, you can follow me on all the social media sites at DJ.Dark Fader. That's DARKFADA. And as far as shout-outs, I just want to shout out Scheme, Danger One, Dice, Red Meth, Nut, the whole little crew or whatever. And shout out to Seneca Da Misfit, of course.
Yeah, shout out DJ Dark Fader, shout out DJ Dice, shout out Do It All, shout out Chaos, shout out my man Will Perez, that's on the project as well, St. Ivan, everybody that's worked with me on the project. I'm really grateful for people believing in what we do. Without that, it's hard to be able to gauge what's right and what's wrong. I mean, you can only just, follow your heart at the end of the day, but confirmation is the strongest way of being able to be encouraged. So thank you, Immortal. Shout out to you, most importantly, like out of everyone. Shout out to you because you're providing a platform for us to even speak on right now. And you don't have to. You could be talking to 1,000 other artists right now, but you're taking that time out for us, and we appreciate that because we're still up and coming. We're still trying to stake our claim and still trying to put ourselves in a position of more stability. So it's exciting and it's fun, but it means a lot when someone does that for you. You don't have to do that. You can do that for anyone. So thank you. And, as we climb and get to upper levels, we're always going to be able to say, nah, DJ Immortal Outlaw Radio held us down, and whatever you need, we got you. So shout out to Outlaw Radio, DJ Immortal, and your whole staff and team, because we'll recognize real at the end of the day. So you hollering at us is for a good purpose. So thank you, bro. We appreciate you.
Hey man, you are most certainly welcome. First and foremost, man. If you have that real music substance, like I said earlier, I'm gonna holler at you, man. Yes, I do interview, huge artists, but at the end of the day, if you're talented like yourself, I'm always gonna have that opportunity because at the end of the day, people like yourself are trying to make it. So I like to intertwine up and coming artists with the big artists on my show as well because it's extra exposure for very talented individuals like yourselves.
Word. Thank you. Word up.
You are most certainly welcome. And guys, I want to say thank you both for coming up on Outlaw Radio Live, man. It was an absolute honor and most definitely a privilege. You guys have yourselves a wonderful week, man. And thank you so much again.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, sir.
You're most certainly welcome, man. Have yourselves a wonderful night.
Yes, sir. Peace.